something that automatically stands out in your words is this idea of not reading the Torah like it's a history book. I believe that many of us have an incorrect assertion that the Torah should be read like a history book. Why? Because when we open the Torah, we can find accounts that are accredited in history. So as a result, people are moved to say the Bible is a history book. And there's a grave error in that. The error in thinking that the Bible is a history book is this. If we're thinking the Bible is a history book, then all of the stories that we're reading it as if we're reading something that once happened. However, if we understand that the writers, the scribes, right, took the history of our ancestors and wrote it down so that their history, their journey, and their experiences serve us today as a life lesson, as a moral guide, that is the purpose. The history of our ancestors were recorded so as to serve us as a moral guide. So no, the Bible is not a history book. It contains history. The history that contains is 1000% accurate, but the purpose, aim, and goal of writing the text is not to recount history. And any historian knows that. When you open the Bible, there are things missing to account for or describe what we call history. There's not a date given for every scenario, but we can infer dates, but it's not explicitly mentioned. A historian that wants to tell a history book is very detailed, is very explicit. The Bible's not written that way. The Bible's encoded. It's meant for us to read it today and come back and read it tomorrow and see something new. It's an encoded text. It was never meant for us to read right now and we understand everything. There's special meaning in us reading in the Psalms that man is allotted Shivim, Yamim, right? Shivim are Shanaim, 70 years. There's a reason why we read in the Psalms that man was allotted 70 years. There's also a reason why the sages speak of Torah as possessing Shivim Panim, 70 faces. Each year that you read Torah, you should be seeing something different. You should be seeing something new. The Torah is like an onion. When you peel back the layers of an onion, the first thing that happens is your eyes begin to become very watery, right? Because it's almost burning. But from a scientific point of view, the tear ducts that's being produced, the tears that are coming out of your eyes, the water is from a gas that's being emitted each time that you peel back a layer. And that gas, while at the outset, it's causing a bit of disturbance to the eye, it's also clearing out things in the eye. It's actually making one's vision clearer. That's the Torah. The more and more we peel back layers of it, the clearer our vision becomes of it. And it was never written to be understood in a day. It was written to be discussed in huge circles, to be meditated upon exclusively when a person's alone, right? We refer to that as hit bodedut, self-isolation, meditation. There's a reason why we read in the scriptures that you should meditate in it day and night. It's a book that contains great depth. There's much to learn. The sages speak of 4 levels of understanding the text. Pardes, right? Peshat, the simple meaning, right? Remez, where we're talking about the hint, the illusion, right? Drash. Drash is where someone goes into exposition, right? Where someone connects ideas, the juxtaposition of passages. Then finally, we're ending with Sod, the deepest level, the esoteric level. We call that the Kabbalistic level. But the point is, there are so many dimensions and layers towards understanding this that we have to understand that it's far more than a history book. So I needed to say that, Chief Rabbi, because the moment you said that, I began to lit up from the inside out, because I know that these are things our community needs to hear.
And the thing is, that was just beautiful. Like, it's just I'm soaking it in. You know what I mean? The words that you're saying, and they're full of emet and strength and koach. And the thing is, it's like this is really, when we think about this idea, the power of the Torah, right? Because we got to go into this. We can't just open up and just start reading verses. We got to have an outlook. We got to have a hashkafa, right? We got to have a way that we understand it as a people, right? We need to centralize our understanding and how we go into these studies, and creating a mechanism that we could be on a similar accord, so we could learn together, right? And create healthy studies groups like Rav Zion's been doing for years, right? And so this idea is to say that, hey, you know what? I need to be able, like, if Rav Zion's saying that there's 4 levels of looking at a verse, a word, a letter. There's 4 levels. There's a part that there's Peshat, Drash, Rimitz, and Drash, and Sod. If you have those 4 levels in the Torah for each verse, and I can look at every situation, every idea. Like if the Torah is talking about a house, I can understand on these 4 levels. If the Torah is talking about, a physical attribute, if you're talking about an emotional attribute, I can understand on all these different levels. So if I could do that, that means I could do it in my own life. That means that I can look at my own life. That means I could look at everything that's going on in my life on the same level, on the same levels, the systematic process that I learned the Torah, I can look at my own life. And when a person is able to connect the way that they view the Torah and the way that they view their life, this is the home run. This is the championship. This is the NBA championship. This is the NFL championship. This is the gold medal. This is the idea, is to be able to take the understanding and the depth in the text and be able to take it into our ordinary everyday lives. Meaning that when I walk into the room, that room is just as much of a Torah as what I read in the text. This is what I read in the text. The people in the room, they have a literal level. They have a remiss. They have hints about them. They have a drash. They got a story about them, and they have a sword, and they have a secret that no one knows. They have a secret just for me. And so every single person that I meet, every single room that I read, is that's why when we learn the oral Torah, those situations there, we're analyzing it in the same way. Okay, a goring calf, a goring ox, right? Okay, but it's not just a goring ox, right? It's an attribute even of ourselves, right? So it's just saying that, so this idea of being able to take the Torah and make it into a way of living, this is part of the healing process for our people, right? This is what we have to do. We have to take ourselves out of the secular form of education and put ourselves in the frame of the system of the Torah. We could use secular education for the benefits of job placement, right? And skill sets. But I'm saying in terms of knowledge, in terms of what makes a person educated, is a person that's able to walk in a room and see those 4 levels, to see the 4 levels in every person, to see the soul in every human being that they walk up to them, so they can have mercy on them no matter how wrong they are. Be like, hey, this is a soul that's just not complete yet, right? And so that dynamic, and so when we train ourselves to see these different levels, when Rav Zion is talking about the Kabbalah, he's bringing a source, he's bringing a Rashi, or he's bringing an insight that he brings, or he's just bringing the literal text. All those things are ways to develop systems of thinking so we could apply to every aspect of our life. So we live in a frame of holiness. Everything is holiness. Everything is explained in the Torah because that's the way our mind is wired. And that's the focus. That's the focus we have here in Israel. That's the focus we learn in institutions, is to make everything in this frame Torah and to live this way. So when we're learning, we're going into the book of Bereshit. We're going into this holy manuscript.